first talked about this field experience, Ms. Adams told us that the teachers asked if we would work on place value. I was very concerned on how we would work on place value for 6 whole weeks. I thought surely the students would become bored with it or even fully understand it in the matter of 1 to 2 weeks. How wrong I was. As we got further and further into the field experience, I realized that there were a lot of math concepts that come together to help the students understand place value and why it is important. The very first lesson was a basic lesson over place value. As we watched and assessed our students' knowledge about this topic, we quickly realized that there were other concepts we would teach our students in order to deepen their understanding. One topic we decided to teach on was magnitude and expanded notation. We noticed that during one of our lessons over place value, some of our students were memorizing the value of each number instead of really understanding the concept behind it. That is why we chose to teach expanded notation. Expanded notation is a visual way to see how each number holds a specific value. We took this and taught it in different ways in order to ensure the concept was understood. We did things such as build with manipulatives, manipulate written out expanded notations, and wrote our own numbers and expanded them in our journals. We taught expanded notations for 3 lessons, and each time I think they understood something new about how it correlated with place value. The very last lesson we decided to bring in calculators so the children could see that the value of each digit was truly inside the number. This was the first time I saw a light come on. They were amazed that the expanded notation added up to the number they started with. When I was a student, one thing I remember is my teachers were really good about teaching everything very clearly. However, they never connected any of the concepts. As I got older, I realized that knowing one thing helped to understand another. Because of this, I wanted to be sure and precisely tell my students how different concepts connected and how it would help them specifically with their math journey. Another thing we taught was regrouping. We tried to connect expanded notation and place value and explain how knowing one would help them understand the other. We did a lot of teaching with base 10 blocks. We had them regroup 2-digit numbers and explain how they did it. We had them draw the base 10 blocks, explain the base 10 blocks, and manipulate them to create a better understanding. We assessed their knowledge of regrouping by playing games such as Race to 100 that required them to understand how to regroup. We also had them write and draw in their journals problems that required regrouping. Overall, our students had very little behavior problems. The very first day, we showed the students our behavior folder, which consisted of the schedule for the day and our expectations. From the second day on, we always laid out the folder in case they needed to look at it or we needed to remind them of an expectation. But we didn't take time to go over it each day. The only problem we ever had was sometimes some of the students would get off task. We would then ask specific questions to get them back on track, and that seemed to work very well. When I have a classroom of my own, I will do my best to look at each student individually and base my lessons off their needs. There is a curriculum I will probably have to follow, but I want my students' needs to come first. I learned through this experience that every child is different. I learned how to look at each child's needs and differentiate my lessons accordingly. I also learned that in order for a student to fully understand the concept, they need to first understand the basics and then how it all connects. It finally connected for my students at the end of the last day, and I hope I can learn how to do this for all my future students.